We're looking at the scoreboard right up there. It says Clemson 29, Ohio State 23. The Fiesta Bowl is over, and people are going to be talking about this one for a long time. We're talking about it now. Nathan Baird, Stephen Means, Doug Lesmerises from cleveland.com. Stephen, did the officiating cost Ohio State this game?
No, technicalities cost Ohio State this game. If you look at the book, like Shaun Wade's targeting call, like that's targeting. By the way the rule is actually set up, that's the right call to make. But when you put some context of, Trevor Lawrence ducked his head into it, it would have been a great hit if Trevor Lawrence would have stayed upright. Trevor Lawrence is 6'6", Shaun Wade's like 6'1", so like a lot has to happen for it to be a helmet-to-helmet hit. From that point on, all momentum was in Clemson's favor for about 90% of the second half. So I'm not going to blame that on the refs for making it the correct call by the book, but like the technicalities of it are what necessarily that's why Ohio State lost.
Nathan.
So I understand the viewpoint of a fan who says Ohio State did everything it needed to do to win the game, and those calls took points away from them that they should have had. I understand that. But Clemson did everything it needed to do to win the game as well, including getting 3 stops in the first half of this game, twice on first and goal to go situations for Ohio State, and another one where it was 1st and 10 from the 11, the Clemson 11. If Ohio State gets a touchdown on any one of those, it's 29-27 instead of 29-23 at the end of this game, and they don't have to go for the end zone at the end. They're in position to just kick a field goal and win this game 30-29. So, no, officiating ultimately made it tougher for Ohio State to win this game, potentially. It did not cost Ohio State this game. I know that's going to be a thing that Ohio State fans are angry about for a long time, but I still say it was still there for them to win it if they convert one of those 3 chances. Because everybody I talk to in the Clemson locker room talks about those 3 possessions as victories, even though they're giving up points.
I think the refs probably did cost them the game. The momentum, that was the greatest momentum swing from a single play, especially a single call, that I can remember. Ohio State was dominating. I think the yardage was 288 to 116 at the time of the targeting call on Shaun Wade, and then that brought Clemson to life. So, of course, Clemson did a good job to hold Ohio State to field goals early instead of touchdowns, but Clemson was doing nothing. That play, that single moment, sparked Ohio State, and I think the thing that Ryan Day really had a problem with, and he was angry after the game, is that both the things, the J.K. Dobbins touchdown that they overturned, that was not a touchdown. That ball did hit the ground. The other two, both were changed, and that the targeting was not initially called and then upon review was deemed targeting, and it's a penalty and an ejection. And then the touchdown on the Jordan Fuller fumble recovery that then is ruled an incompletion. Again, it was ruled on the field one thing and changed. I think that is an extra poke, that it's not just like, well, that's what they called. It's like they looked at it, they slowed it down, and they sort of changed their mind on things that went against Ohio State in a huge way both times. And I think the fumble, more than anything, because that's points. That's momentum, and that's points. The targeting, I think you're right, is sort of by the rule. This feels like a thing that they may adjust the rule, because the issue with that was it kept that drive alive, but they missed Shaun Wade. They missed Shaun Wade the rest of the game.
I will say, yeah, I understand what you're saying about that being a momentum changer, but it's not as big as a momentum changer if they're up 20-0 or 24-0 or 28-0, which they could have been.
No, it's not. But the after effect right after it, everything else, yes. But right after that, they attack Amir Weep. It's a pass interference call. Now they're in position to score, and then they score off of it. It's like everything else, yes. But it starts with that initial drive where we go from like it's a 4th down and they're going to get off the field again to Shaun Wade's out for the game. Pass interference call puts them in prime field position, and they put points on the board, and that's where the momentum shift started.
I know this is going to be a debate. It's like a lot of things went into Ohio State losing this game. But I do stand on the side of that play was bigger than when Clemson held them to field goals, because Clemson was dead. Clemson was dead. And it was like, well, it's only 16-0. It could be a lot worse. You don't want to give Trevor Lawrence an opportunity, but Clemson wasn't doing anything. And that call, just the way it went down, brought Clemson to life with the penalty, with the ejection, with attacking the backup, but also you just felt it. And so a lot of times holding a team to field goals is a big deal when you're going back and forth and it's like, we scored a touchdown, we held them to a field goal. I know Ohio State was only getting field goals. They were up 16-0. They were still dominating the game, and it was such an absolute momentum changer. And I think what's going to stick with Ryan Day and a lot of Ohio State fans is, again, they weren't called that way on the field. They were called that way on review, and I think some people are, for a very long time, going to question why was it that they felt they had to look at it and then it was so obvious. And that's what Ryan Day brought up in the postgame. If you're reviewing stuff and flipping it, it's because it's indisputable. Were both those things indisputable that they had to be changed to go against Ohio State? I get why they're mad. A lot of other things that went into it, he was really mad, and I think you can disagree, but I think you can understand. Nathan, Stephen, Doug, a lot coming from this. 29-23. Clemson's going to the national championship game to face LSU, and Ohio State's going home.